Mike Garofolo joins us momentarily. Mike Garofolo, of course, is brought to you by Hartley Insurance, your trusted family-owned insurance experts in the Puget Sound area since 1978. Honesty, fairness, integrity. You give Jamie Hartley a call there, 253-565-8700. Also, Zogs on Fox Island, the perfect spot to grab a cold beer, hang out with friends, and catch the game. There at Zogs on Fox Island. Let's talk a little. Oh, I got a little echo there with you, sir.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not coming through my headphones. I had this. Hold on.
You take your time.
It's not picking up my Yeti.
This is the beauty of live
Don't know what
programming.
happened. Wait a second. Hold on. Yeah, see, that's working.
I
don't know.
We're picking up your computer, I think is what we're picking up.
Don't know what to tell you. It was fine before. Let me log out and come back in. Hi, everybody.
Right. It's okay. Right. That's the beauty of it. This is why I love doing live entertainment. Because of this. It allows you to pivot, be quick on your toes. Now it gives me time to talk about Dan Lanning. And I'm going to bring it back up with Andy Bunker when we'll get Garofolo back on. I don't think Dan Lanning did it on purpose now. And I think Andy Bunker has freaking convinced me. I think Dan Lanning's kind of an idiot. And I think he's taking credit for something he didn't mean to do. All right, Mike Garofolo is back with us.
Okay, we're good.
Oh, you sound great. God, those beautiful, just dark bass vocal cords. How are you, Mike Garofolo?
Doing great, Puck. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. This was, I think, last week, Mike. And again, Mike is with us, brought to you by Hartley and Hartley Insurance and Zogs on Fox Island. He's with us every single Thursday. I think this last week of the NFL was about the craziest week in the NFL that I can remember. I mean, the trades, the unfortunate injury to Aiden Hutchinson, and then my favorite part of the week was Jerry Jones. You and I both being old sports radio guys.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that immensely.
Does he own that station?
I assume so because it's the flagship.
Okay. So for him to say, like, I can replace you.
He can.
He can. Right.
Yeah.
Which would not be a great look at this point, right?
Can you imagine if those two guys found out they were out of jobs?
So if you're the hosts, you got to feel like you got a little bit of protection by the fact that this happened publicly.
Yeah.
Because if he did that, he would get slaughtered. But by the same token, maybe he doesn't care. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I remember there was one, because he usually will field relatively tough questioning on that show. But there was one week where, gosh, they had lost or something had happened, or I don't know. And he said, there was a moment where you want to get smart with me? Is that how we're going to do it? Like something like this. I got to go back and find that one for you, because that was great as well. But it was only that little moment. This one, he seemed to carry it all the way through.
My buddy that we used to work together in Portland, Oregon, Gavin Dawson, used to do that show. Gavin works there now and on a different time slot now, but he had him on the show. Maybe that was with him, but I used to always text him like, you get to interview the owner of the team every week. That's unbelievable. Like there's no other owner in sports, right, that does a weekly show. And then what I love even more than that is the fact that he does, the press conference after the games in the hallway before the coach even talks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are times where he won't do it. And it's like, is he really, he must be really upset, because then you try to read into that. But yeah, he'll stand there and you can ask him anything. And, but he's definitely gotten a little punchier of late. So
he's 82.
Yeah. I also think he thought that this team, at this point was locked and loaded and ready to go.
Yeah.
Which spoke to why they didn't do some of the things in the offseason that people wanted them to do, because they felt like they had enough, and now it's not looking that way. So, it's going to be interesting to watch to see if this doesn't work out. And, he seems to be defending Mike McCarthy, but by the same token, his temperament tells you he's just not happy at all.
Why doesn't he? And I mean, if you knew the answer to this, or if he even wanted to do it, why doesn't he just go hire like a legitimate president and general manager. I mean, he's the owner of the team. Like, why does he want to do? He's 82. Why does he even want to do that? Just hires. You have all the money in the world. They're worth. What are they worth? Like $10 billion.
Doesn't matter at this point. His life is what his life is going to be. It's never going to change, right?
But just give it to somebody. Be like, just win me a championship. Hire the smartest guy in the room.
He is the smartest guy in the room. Just ask him. Which is not really to say that Will McClay is the de facto general manager and does a very nice job there, by the way. Does a really good job. Will McClay does. And he trusts him. Teams have tried to pull Will away and have been unsuccessful, so I'm sure he's getting compensated greatly. And Steven also has great input. Go back to what year was it, the Manziel, that they had to, stop him. And so at least he will allow himself to be stopped, right? At least he does seem to take the feedback of those around him.
Yeah, I just, it's one of those weird things. I don't quite understand it. Yeah, I don't know why he just doesn't want, to sit there and allow people to, help him out.
They are. I just said he is.
Yeah, but it just doesn't feel that. Does he not take it?
He does. He does. I don't know what would change if you brought in somebody that he's still going to have. He still wants to be involved. Remember that scene of him with the breakfast sandwich during Hard Knocks from a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
It's a great scene of him just taking the pulse of the team and then eating that sandwich. And they really didn't have a whole lot. They were limited access, HBO was that year. So that they had that and they kind of leaned into that. And it was just this great scene of like, really? This is how he's going to eat his breakfast right here?
Yeah, but he's, I don't know. It's to see that team where they're at get so hammered like they did. Mike, there's losses in the NFL, and then there was a loss like that. Like, you just don't see losses like that in the league. You
don't see a team that, their wins have been big too, right? Their wins have been significant. The way that they smashed the Browns, and the Steelers game was close. The Giants game was never really in doubt in my mind. So it's like it's been in the age of parity where it's usually, hey, all these games were decided by X amount of points this week. The NFL loves to tout that. This team, for some reason, has gone the other way. I don't understand. Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Sure. Hey, congratulations to Devante Adams. Boy, that hamstring cleared up real quickly.
Right?
Good for him.
It's like the guy who's dancing with the crutches and he just throws them.
Yeah. I thought he would be done for the year.
Which is funny because everybody in Vegas was like, no, he's got a legitimate injury. Okay, he's got a legitimate injury. And maybe he did. I don't know. Maybe it coincided. But it's not like he came back to the Jets and was limited. He was a full participant in practice his first day. So, there's a way of, everybody said, well, it's pending a physical. He's got an injury.
But but the Raiders play a part in this too, right? Because they don't want to play him in order to. They know they're going to trade him, and so they know they don't want to play him to get him hurt, right? Is that part of it?
Yeah, well, that's part of it, and also kind of sort of honoring his trade request. Like, hey, I don't want to play another down for this team. Okay, fine, you're not going to play another down for this team. Mm-hmm. And just like you want to, hamstring injury, great. Whether it's real or not. Mike Williams right now with the Jets seems to be doing the same thing because now that Adams is in, Williams is going to be out. He missed practice because of personal reasons yesterday. You weren't looking. I did air quotes when I said that.
Yeah. Sorry.
And then today he's there, but he's working on a side field. So who knows how he'll be listed on the injury report. But this is another one of like, okay, yeah, I understand you're upset. We're going to look for the best suitor, and they're going to get nothing for him. It's not going to be an Adams type trade. It's going to be their day 3 draft pick compensation. Because somebody's going to have to take on a big number for him as well. But he's practicing on a side field, and it's like, okay. And teams are willing to do that because you're right. It does help them. He's not out there, and then he breaks a leg, and all of a sudden they lose out on a draft pick.
Yeah. So he gets his wish. He goes to the Jets. How much does it make him better?
I heard. Yeah. I've heard former players talk about, well, it takes the attention off of Garrett Wilson. Great. Opens up the running game. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Keeps Aaron Rodgers happy. Cool. They're 2-4 with an interim head coach. The offensive play calling I thought got better. But still, you got to win that game. You've got to win that game, you know? And I'm surprised, because we talked about this, full transparency, Ian Rapoport and I we're on the air on Sunday, and we're both talking about how, okay, this thing is going to come on Tuesday. And I said to Ian, the only thing I can't really factor in is if the Jets lose Monday night. Does Woody go, oh, wait a second, you know what? And instead he did the opposite. Like, I thought I had more time that morning to say, hey, all right, so what's going on? What's the and they were like, it was done the night before. Sometime, if you do the math on it, it seems like it was sometime during the game that it was agreed to. So you've got an owner right now who is all in with a roster that he believes is the best one that he's ever had. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. There were some really talented rosters back when Rex Ryan was the head coach. Now the quarterback's obviously better, but he's on the back end of his career. When this happened the other day, I was like, and I've got a diehard Jet fan who, a friend of mine who I thought was going to be way in on it. And he was kind of like, why do we just light a draft pick on fire? Because there was even if you wanted to get him next year, the Raiders were going to have to release him. They weren't going to pay him the number that was on the books. So they got their, usually it's a comp pick, but you're not getting a comp pick until 2026. So they got it a year early. And I can't imagine it would have been as high as what they've got potentially here. So first of all, there are no second round comp picks. So Raiders did a great job on this one.
Right. Our good friend Jamal Adams, he's got his release. So Jamal Adams, now the era in Tennessee is over. I would ask you what happened, but I can only assume what happened. But he's now he's not good anymore. They don't play him, and he's upset. And he still thinks he's the best safety in football, probably. So where does he land? For entertainment purposes, want him to come back here so everyone loses their mind.
I would say that would be fun. Which honestly, if we talked about this spring, summer, right? The door was open, but he would have to be a linebacker with the Seahawks.
Right.
And it sounds like those around him are saying, "Well, who needs a safety? Well, where can we?" You're not a safety, so where does he go to be a linebacker? I hear he is in the New York area for his birthday. Is his birthday? I meant to check that.
Okay.
So if it's his birthday, I'll know that's accurate. So hold on, Jamal.
Well, what does that mean? Is he coming back to the Jets?
No, but that's what October 17th. Today's his birthday.
Okay.
Probably should have noted that. Happy birthday, Jamal Adams.
Way to go, Jamal.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't see. Usually the team will wish the players did the Titans wish Jamal Adams a happy birthday today?
Probably not.
A lot of people want him to come back to the Jets. They think that would be high.
Oh, why not?
I don't know that the welcome mat would be rolled out here the same way that it was rolled out or would potentially be rolled out in Seattle.
Okay. So he's not coming back to Seattle. I want people, I tweeted that out and people lost their mind. Oh, why would you want him back? It was a joke. All right, people, just relax. It's just a joke. He's not coming back here. Don't worry about it. Surprise. Well, I guess they haven't made the announcement yet, Mike, but at least Mike Tomlin has opened the door for Russell Wilson.
I'll make the announcement. Russell Wilson's starting. Go ahead. There you go. There's your announcement.
He is?
Yes.
Why?
Did you see the quote from Arthur Smith, by the way, today? So he's talking about Justin Fields said, I didn't play well enough.
Mm-hmm.
If I did, which was great. If I did, there would be no doubt about who's the starting quarterback. So he didn't play well enough, which I think. So this was Arthur Smith then saying, I think guys are a little hard on themselves sometimes, basically saying he didn't play that poorly, which I thought was funny for two reasons. One, gives you an indication of who Arthur Smith thinks the starting quarterback should be, as does this line. He's 4-2. He's been pretty productive. And so whatever Mike tells us to do, like I said, I've got it ready either way and just working. And that's my job. Basically, I just work here. Like that was the ultimate. I just work here. Whatever Mike tells us to do. I was kind of like, because we know this is Tomlin. Tomlin's been driving the Russell Wilson bus since before they acquired him. Like telling people we can get this guy for the veteran minimum, which is fine, which is great. Okay. But to put your eggs in that basket the way that he has and the way that he's been pushing for Russell Wilson to be the guy, despite a spring that wasn't great, a summer in which he didn't practice and play that much because of the calf issue.
Right.
And Justin Fields doing pretty well during the regular season. Mike Tomlin is still firmly in Russell Wilson's corner. And so that's the opinion that matters the most in that building.
Well, it's interesting because it's not like he hasn't lit the world on fire. Has Fields, but they've won and he's performed okay. Their offensive line's not that good. He's had to scramble for a lot of
too. That doesn't help.
He's had to scramble for a lot of stuff. And Russell is just not what he was, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
He's not. He's not. And you saw there was a design run.
Yeah, they're not doing that with him.
No, but there was a design run for Fields the other day where 1, 2, 3, boom, he planted and the offensive line, and it was like he was gone, like a running back gone.
Yeah.
And you're not getting that from Russ. Like, I don't understand. So, in other words, you take that away. You're taking the ceiling away. You're taking the dynamic ability away because that ceiling he could potentially continue to progress toward. You're taking all that away, and you're getting, in your mind, like Fields is down here, potentially going up here. In your mind, you're up here. Okay, and you're getting this, but you better get that. Like, you may not get that. You may get this.
Yeah,
right. We've seen this.
Right, 100%.
So I don't, but Mike Tomlin, he gets a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt here because of his overall record and his streak of non-losing seasons, which seems to be continuing.
Because this is in your neck of the woods. I was going to save this at the end, but I want to get it now because it's a funny story. Fireman Ed, are the Jets trying to push Fireman Ed out? He thinks so. He's gone to social media thinking the Jets are pushing him out.
I didn't notice that the other night. I honestly didn't. He was definitely up there.
Okay.
I don't know why. I mean, he was up there. Maybe he wasn't every touchdown, but third downs, they were cutting to him.
Were they?
And you could see him. Let's go! And he's waving the hat on Thursday. I mean, I saw it. Did I take score and see if it was every single time? I have no idea. But they were definitely cutting it. It's not like they went cold turkey.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they had some sponsored elements that they had to get in there instead. I don't know. They were also showing, and maybe this is a part of it. I should ask these questions. Is this important? I don't know. I sort of laugh at the story. I'm like, is this something I should be chasing?
Oh, I think they were also
showing the Yankees and the Mets game cut-ins. They were showing, and sometimes live. So that may have affected it, which I thought was cool. They were, because the Mets played early, and then once the game started, it was the Yankees, and they kept showing either, hey, this home run just happened, or live cut-ins to keep the crowd engaged, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah. All right, Jaden Daniels, is he a legitimate MVP candidate?
He's in the mix. I don't know that it's going to hold up. I mean, they've got some tougher games coming up here, and you're going to have some guys that are going to emerge here. I think Joe Burrow had some really good numbers, despite the Bengals being 1-4.
Sure.
Now, this last game that they won, it was not the greatest offensive output, although he played really well. So I don't know that Jaden Daniels is going to hold up there. I don't have a vote. If I did at this point, I'd have a hard time not giving it to Josh Allen right now.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, Amari Cooper may help. Josh Allen's case may help his stats. The problem with that team,
it's a great trade.
It's a great trade because it didn't cost them a lot of money, which helped the Browns, by the way. They got more draft pick compensation because it didn't cost a lot of money. Whereas if a team had to take on a huge salary with Cooper, like he was $20 million, but they knocked it down to like $1 and change, and they paid most of that already. So it was like $800,000, something like that. If it was the full $20 million, it'd be like, well, we'll give you a 6th, 7th round pick to take on this salary. But because the Browns had already done that, that helped them. So it helped in that regard. It also helped he'd be a high volume guy for you, and they don't have one. And so they've got Keon Coleman, which is good. He's played well. Looks like he's going to be a guy, but he's not your high volume guy. And you've got a bunch of other veterans who were never high volume guys. He threw a bunch of veterans. But I give Brandon Beane credit because he said, we'll do this. And then if we feel like we don't have enough, we'll do something in season. And he's already done it. And so this was a team who, when they've been behind in games, it's like they're not built that way. And Josh Allen is a guy that can get you out of some holes, but they weren't built that way from a receiver standpoint. And now that really helps a lot by getting Amari Cooper.
All right, NFL trade deadline. It's coming up. It's coming up fast, November 5th.
Yeah.
How aggressive do you think the Lions will be with the Aiden Hutchinson injury?
There's not a lot out there. Like I saw people talked about the Hassan Reddick one, and credit Josina Anderson had a great nugget about if the Jets trade him to an NFC team, they now owe the Giants a 2nd round pick, which I don't know how that would work out if they owed both the Giants and the Raiders 2nd round picks. Another question I should ask. So they won't trade him in the NFC. So it's now you're limited to the AFC. So I think that's going to hurt a little bit. There's other, there's the Myles Garrett's. There's the Myles Garrett's.
What about Max Crosby?
I don't think so. I think. First of all, we know the relationship between him and Antonio Pierce, and I know Antonio Pierce would be just devastated by that.
Yeah.
And I also know that they pushed back on the Devante Adams trade before the season because they wanted to make sure he had some talent on the roster. Like they couldn't have him completely fall on his face. So, to give up Max Crosby, that would be a tough one. But this team's going to have to reload and get ready to rock and roll for next year in order to keep Max happy and not ask him for a trade and, able to compete before it's too late in his career.
The Tom Brady now being a part owner of the Raiders. How does what are you going to you know what I'm going to ask you?
It's just the weirdest thing to me.
But how can he be an analyst and then be an owner?
You're preaching to the choir here.
He's going to have to give up the Fox gig, isn't he? Isn't the league going to make him give that
No,
up?
they would have done that already. They would have done that already, and they say he can call Raiders games too.
That is unbelievable. You can't have that. Come on.
And my opinion on this changed in the last day because the Raiders pumped this out there, and they had a video of him walking in with the music playing and all this stuff. And it's if you're going to be a small minority owner to get your feet wet, and maybe down the line you want to be, majority controlling owner of a franchise, fine. If you're going to keep the Fox gig, which potentially could help you pay for that, by the way, because you're going to bank $400 million or whatever it is.
Yeah, right.
But they really and he leaned into it too, right? So if you're going to do that, it's kind of like, in our business, some people, depending on the roles that they're in, can be fans, right?
Sure.
But you don't want to do it too hard sometimes because you want to still keep the credibility. But some people really lean into it, and I go, see, I'm not a fan. Legitimately, I'm not a fan of anybody. I can't be. It's impossible, whatever. But some people really lean into it. I'm like, if you do that, you're going to get the blowback from 31 other teams. Whereas if you want to maintain, you could do it privately, keep it quiet. But, it's sort of along the same lines here. So I thought yesterday when that really got pushed hard, I was kind of like, don't you want to kind of that didn't help with people who feel the way that you feel, Puck?
You think I don't know I can't remember who said it, but do you think he'd go after Bill Belichick?
I mean, I think that Mark Davis is going to be influenced by what Tom Brady's going to say.
Yeah.
So I mean, the first question is going to be, do they retain Antonio Pierce? Which if you fire Pierce off of this year, you're just saying you feel that way. You don't have anything. Because you took Devante Adams off the field. I mean, they're scrapping right now, and they're going to win some games along the way, like the game in Baltimore. And they'll lose some games like the game that they had at home against Carolina. And they're going to be that kind of team the rest of the way. You got to rule it incomplete in his first year, I think. So I don't know if Brady's going to convince him that, hey, this isn't the guy, and I can. Who knows? Maybe.
All right. Before we let you go, I want to celebrate. This is an important week for one of your colleagues. It's like an anniversary for one of your colleagues who I know that you love and that you adore. But of course, I like to call this the rap sheet week.
I had an interesting talk with offensive coordinator Tom. Did you guys just see that football? I saw it. Anyway,
one of my favorite videos of all time.
I had an interesting talk with offensive. Talk with offensive coordinator.
I mean, that hits him pretty. Hold on. Watch this. I mean, God, Mike, that hit.
Offensive coordinator Tom.
That hits him hard.
Did you guys just see that football?
Hold on.
I mean, my God.
I don't know that I've ever seen that clip as long as you showed it. The ball boy then comes in. Hey, can I have that ball? Show that again. Okay. He didn't even check on him.
Hold on. Yeah.
I saw it. Anyway.
Hold on. We got to get
Did you guys just see that football? I saw it.
First of all, the suit's too big.
Hey, can I get that ball?
An interesting talk with offensive coordinator Tom Clements a couple weeks ago.
Can I get the ball? Yeah, that happened. It was yesterday, October 16th. That was 2012, I believe.
Yeah. So 12 years later, still no long-term effects.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think it hit him. He also said, by the way,
hit him pretty good.
It didn't hit him direct. It hit the light and then hit him. So it was a ricochet.
I'll say this, you guys and live radio, and I've done live TV, like something like that happens, you can get real rattled. I thought he handled it great. Live TV like that.
I've never seen the rest of it, by the way. I got to see the rest of it. Did he finish the hit? And actually, he talked to what did Tom Clements say? I got to ask him that. Do you remember what Tom Clements told you?
I don't know. You do got to finish it. Like we got to find like the finished product of it. Who do you like tonight? I mean, do you think the Broncos can win by more than 4?
It's 4 now?
It's 3. They're favored by 3.
Oh. Which
4
honestly, well, look, they're down Pat Surtain and their right tackle, but it looks like they're getting Mike McGlinchey back. The Saints are just,
ravaged.
I feel so bad for Dennis Allen right now because
they're a pretty good team.
I don't know if they were going to be as good as they were the first 2 weeks of the season, but they're not this bad. And but that is why that was one of the teams to me that I said, because what I've learned over the course of covering this league is you have to look at who's got depth, right? Because everybody's going to have injuries. So who's got the depth to sustain it? And a lot of times it's rookies that you're not fully aware of yet. So you can't. So I'll ask around the league, like, hey, who do you think has depth? And when I say who doesn't have depth, that was one of the teams that came up. And I think we're seeing that now. I know we're seeing that right now. Did I know we'd see it to this extent? I have no idea. But yeah, this is a situation where like Alvin Kamara is going to have 6 touchdowns tonight. One of those games like he had before. That's the only way they win this game. I like Denver.
All right, you like Denver.
I like Denver, and I like Seattle this weekend.
Okay, you like the Seahawks.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, it feels like this would be a game. They've lost 3 straight. People are doubting them.
Atlanta's flying high. You know, they're due to come back down a little bit. Seattle does a good job of flying. They are still under Mike McDonald doing the fly on Friday to get there a day earlier to get adjusted, which I think is smart. And they play well when they come east. So yeah, I like them. A
lot of connections in this game. You got Michael Penix, the backup quarterback, of course, was at Washington. Ryan Grubb is offensive coordinator. Jimmy Lake is the defensive coordinator for Atlanta. Reason he has that job because he punched a player in the face at Washington. I mean, it's unreal. It's just, all the connections to this game should be good. All right. You're the best. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks, Mike.
You got it, pal.
There he is, Mike Garofolo, NFL Network. Again, all brought to you by Hartley & Hartley Insurance, your trusted family-owned insurance experts in the Puget Sound area since 1978. Honesty, fairness, integrity. Contact Jamie Hartley at 253-565-8700. Also, Zogs on Fox Island, perfect spot to grab a cold beer, hang out with friends, and catch the game. Enjoy the Northwest summers and falls now. I should probably fix that. The falls on their outdoor patio. Check out Zogs on Facebook and Instagram for their new hours. In case you came into this late, of course, Mike Garofolo and every guest we have will be podcast up later on YouTube. Just search Puck Sports. Also up on Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. And, of course, at pucksports.com.